The final product. Good morning. Welcome from Brunswick Family Campground. Had a good night's sleep last night, and now we're ready for day 2. This is what I slept in last night. And if this tent looks very similar to these tents, that's because I decided to rent a tent on this journey, and I am so glad that I did. Each day the company will set up the tent, air up the mattress, and all I have to do is make the bed. But last night they actually made the bed for me. I just had to slip in there, and fairly decent night of sleep despite some trains going by, but nothing terrible. Every morning we have a briefing about the journey for the day, and I'm getting ready to go to that briefing. Greg hands out a piece of paper with some of the highlights on the trail, and just tells us to have fun. Back on the trail today, we are covering about 35 miles of the C&O trail. However, there are a couple of possible side trips, one being to Harpers Ferry, but if I go, I will lock my bike up on this side, on Maryland side, and walk over, maybe just take a look at it. Thinking also about riding to Antietam Battlefield. It's about 4 miles away from the trail. We'll see on the time. It's about 10 o'clock right now, just got started. And once again, the trail right here is very nice and smooth. The Potomac River, close to Harpers Ferry. Okay, I'm in Harpers Ferry, or at least on the other side of the river from it. Suggestion from our leader, Greg, is to lock our bike up right here and walk across the bridge and just visit the town. Even though I'm a little incredulous about leaving this bike, it's the reason I bought this upgraded lock. Is for situations like this, so that's what I'm going to do. If you ask, why not just take the bike with you? Well, this is the reason. It's the only way to get to Harpers Ferry from the Maryland side is to go up this spiral staircase. Some people do carry their bikes up, but there's really no point in it if I'm not staying here for the night. If you can get a bike up here, it's a nice bridge walkway by the railroad track. There might just be a little bit of history connected to this town of Harpers Ferry. A lot of Civil War history, of course, where John Brown's raid took place, and it lasted only about 20 minutes. And it was the armory for the American Army. Both Union and Confederate had possession of it, but the Union held it, I believe, for the longest. This is the foundations of a small arsenal that was here at one time. Since I didn't think I was going to actually walk in town, I didn't do a lot of research on where to go. I know a lot of the history about it, but it's fun just to walk around here and see a lot. The monument to John Brown. And another view of Harpers Ferry. Right down here is where the armory was. It's now been reduced to rubble, as it said in the placard. This was also one of the places that Meriwether Lewis landed on his way to the west, and the Lewis and Clark expedition. Here we have the old train station, but it is also a working train station. I believe Amtrak stops here. Did I mention that today is the Sunday before Labor Day? Greg, our leader, said there'll probably be around 3,000 people in Harpers Ferry today. I'm glad I went across and got to see it, but in my paranoid state of mind, I want to get back to the bike. I know I always say this, but I would really like to come back here again sometime and do a deep dive into the history, but today's activity is riding on the C&O Canal Trail. But if you've been to Harpers Ferry, have any suggestions about what I should see if I come back, put it down in the comments and I will definitely read them. Lock number 33, right across from Harpers Ferry and the old lock house. This one has not been restored, as you can see. Beautiful section of the trail today. Remnants of the canal on the right again, but not much left of it anymore. I was told there was a deer up here, and there she is. I believe this is another aqueduct, not as restored as much as the other two we've gone under. Another campsite, and there are quite a few people camping at this site on this Labor Day weekend. Yes, this one seems to be very popular because there is a parking lot close by. Some of these campgrounds are very far away from any entry area other than the C&O Canal. But this one, very, very populated this weekend. That's nice. Well, here we have an old railroad bridge. I don't know if it's still in use or not. Shepherdstown, home of Shepherd University. So the town of Antietam, right here. My goal is to get to the National Battlefield. Riding on the highway a little bit, but there's a nice shoulder here. I believe I have about 2 more miles to go. Okay, I made it to Antietam National Battlefield. Had to ride about 4 miles off trail on the highway, but there was a nice shoulder, so it wasn't too bad. I did use up quite a bit of the battery, but I think I'm going to be just fine getting back. I'm going to go into the visitor center in just a moment, see what there is to see. Always wanted to visit this battlefield. Antietam was the site of the bloodiest day in U.S. history, September 17th, 1862. This is Bloody Lane. Now, if you've ever seen pictures of the aftermath of the war, those pictures were taken by Matthew Brady's assistant. I can't think of his name right now. And later on published in the New York Times newspaper. And when people saw those pictures, they were horrified. It made the war real. Well, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to explore much more of Antietam Battlefield. I've got to get back to the C&O Canal to get to our spot for tonight. Fortunately, this was the shortest day of riding on the canal, about 35 miles, but riding up here will probably turn it into 45, close to 50 miles for me. But another fantastic day, beautiful. It's so quiet and serene here. It's just hard to fathom the bloodshed that took place. Just so much carnage. But it did turn the tide. That and Gettysburg. The South was driven out of Maryland with the Battle of Antietam. Okay, I made my way back to the towpath. It's nice to be back on a lane where cars aren't whizzing by you. But really it wasn't too bad. There was a nice lane to ride out there, about 4 miles there and back. And I'm glad I did it. I can say now that I've been to 3 of the major battlefields of the Civil War. Gettysburg, Antietam, and Shiloh. Not to count out Wilson's Creek in Missouri. So if that's something you want to do, if you're riding this towpath, I would strongly suggest that you do it. Give yourself enough time, and I had enough time. It's really nice to be back in the shaded area too, because the battlefield there was there and back was right in the sun, and but it's still a very nice day. Again, over here to the left is the Potomac River. Of course, Antietam was the name of a creek that ran from the battlefield into the Potomac River. The day after the battle, people said that Antietam Creek ran red with the blood of the soldiers. I think I've already passed Antietam Creek. I just didn't recognize it. Here we have Lock 39, followed by mile marker 74. Today I will be stopping just past mile marker 88, so just about 14 miles. Riding up to Antietam didn't use up too much battery life. Again, it was fortunate that this is the shortest day. If it was another 50-some mile day, I would have never attempted that. But it's going to work out great. I'm really looking forward to a section up here called the Big Slackwater, I believe. It's right next to the river, and that's going to be an amazing, picturesque part of the trail. Okay, I'm pretty sure there's a groundhog up here running down the trail, leading the way. There he goes, Mr. Groundhog. dam over there still produces a little bit of hydroelectric power. The main purpose for the dam was to build up the water over here so that the canal boats could cross over and actually run up the Potomac at this point. And this is what's called the Big Slackwater. Okay, so this is where the boats entered the river from the canal. They would go into this lock and then right through there. This was also a way of controlling any flooding going into the canal. It's been plugged up today. It's totally closed, but there used to be a gate there that could open and close depending on storms and flooding and things like that. Now, back in either the late 90s or early 2000s, I can't remember the exact date, there was a catastrophic flood that came through here, and it closed down this section that I'm about to ride on because it flooded out the trail. It was closed down for about 10, 15 years until it was opened up again in 2012. So I was wrong on what I just said. This was the control gate right here that controlled the flooding. That other one was simply where the boats went in and out of the river. So again, the canal boats went out into the Potomac River. Sometimes the conditions were kind of rough, and canal boats weren't really meant to go on rivers, but it was possible. Okay, now we're entering the section that had to be repaired. I think I heard it was like a $10 million project that was taken on. Hello! So that was Greg. He was riding, maybe checking on people. But look at this pathway. This is amazing, isn't it? Matter of fact, I'm in no hurry. I'm pedal assist 1, enjoying this ride. Now, they did have a pretty big flood back in the spring, and there was a short section of this that did get washed out. But I believe they've totally fixed that. And then there was another little section that was really washed out, and they had sandbags up at first. It was very precarious getting across, and they put a temporary bridge, metal bridge up for a while, but I think that's fixed too, if I've read right. But this project took 2 full years to build it. While it was out of commission, there was a detour. You have to go up and on roads, and it wasn't easy. A lot of people just avoided this trail because of that, I think. Greg said it's very busy today. Usually it's very serene. But again, it's Labor Day weekend. And there goes Greg. Okay, this ends the Big Slackwater section, I believe. And this is our last stop for the evening, McMahon's Mill. Our camping spot will be right past this mill here. Okay, well, I made it to camp. We had a very wonderful supper of shrimp and sausage and potatoes. It was great. Again, I realized I did not do a concluding video for the day. So thanks for coming along with me. I had a great day riding on the C&O Canal Path. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with all your friends and family, and until next time, stay tuned for day 3 and have yourself a retro adventure.